Hey everybody, this is Almitra Tankersly, and this Gal Talks Credit. I am a business credit specialist for small business owners here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I help small business owners and startups get access to creative funding outside of the conventional means of getting funding through just finding out what you have and then putting a plan of action together to get you to underwriting and get you some working capital. I'm also FICO Pro certified and the founder of Credit Fitness. So if you guys have not logged on or seen the website, please go to creditfitness.co. And then make sure you also like, share, and make sure you click on the notification bell, because I am getting in the swing of getting on and doing some lives and kind of hoping that I will be able to do more of this as the time should go on. During the day, I am more than on the phone. I'm on the phone. I'm helping clients go into funding, come out of funding, and more so either improve their personal credit reports so they are ready for the next round of funding. When you are a business owner, there's a lot of things that are against you. Number one, funding for business is all usually unsecured. It's very rare when you're starting out that you have to put up collateral, and most people don't have collateral, and that's why unsecured funding is the most sought after type of financing. So as you are doing that, it becomes a struggle for many of you, because either one, your credit scores either probably look decent and or the profile doesn't match the credit score that you've created. So if you have a 700 credit score, your credit score could reflect maybe 500 credit limits, 300 credit limits, and or even $200 credit limits. Like those limits are so small, and if you're trying to establish credit for your business, the lenders or underwriters would like to see higher limits on that report. So even though you're banking on a 700, those numbers usually do not match or make them feel good to give you more funding in the higher or double digit type of limits, like $10,000, $15,000, $40,000 limits. So in order to get there, you want to make sure you really kind of start working on building towards that. If you're trying to figure out like how long does it take, sometimes it could take 2 days after talking to us, and or it could take up to 2 years. It really depends on what your actual journey will be built to be, and then also what you're trying to accomplish. If you're a business owner that says, I have no time and I cannot, I just got to know what to do, then of course you're going to pay and invest in yourself with money. So whichever way you go, for me, I tried it all. I've done money, I've done time, I've done money and time. So it's all about just knowing what your main goal is, what your bottom line is, and then understanding, what you have to do. So most people who are looking at, financing, getting funding, they don't look at the credit score until they're ready to do it. And that's really unfortunate. It's almost like you're digging a well when you're thirsty. So my motto is you should always dig your well before you're thirsty. So if you know that in the very near future, like 6 months out, 12 months out, you really want to be solid, then you have to start building now. It makes more sense to build your credit now rather than getting really close to some kind of time limit or deadline. It doesn't make sense to get that close to that time and then say, I need $1 million. Okay, so because of this ongoing issue that I see with so many of you, and it has really nothing to do with you just not being savvy or awesome business owner. You can't do everything well, usually. So it makes sense to bring on someone onto your team that can help you navigate and help you get the funding in a timely fashion, as well as on a schedule. And when I say on a schedule, that means if you got a lump sum of money in the very beginning, and a lump sum can be $15,000. Of course, I'm aiming very low. Most on average get anywhere from $50,000 all the way up to the tune of over $200,000 for their first round. Now, some of you might say, well, what do I need all that money for? Well, of course, you're the one that has to kind of put together what your numbers should be. But in reality, you should be able to build up your credit to where you have available, $100,000 available in credit, $250,000, $500,000 in credit. Like you want to be able to have those resources on deck. So when you need it, you're not going to the bank, you're not filling out applications, you're not waiting on approvals and underwriting and all these things, sending in your documents. You want to have this on hand. So that's what I mean by preparation and building your well before you're thirsty. So that way when the time comes and you need as you always say, I need a cool 5,000, you have 5,000. And 5,000 that is actually on the credit profile for the business, or the EIN number, aka the DUNS number, aka the PAYDEX profile. You want to have that funding on that profile, so that way as you're swiping with your unsecured funds, it's not calculated against you if your personal credit was involved. Okay, most of you have credit cards that are carrying the business, and I will say it all the time just to make sure that no one misses that your personal credit was never designed by the FICO scoring model to carry a business. And that's why it's emphasis on setting up business credit, so you can learn how to separate the two profiles and get your life back, get your health back, get your relationships back, and then really just start liking yourself. Because some of you are just mad, like, I hate myself. And I'm like, ooh, love yourself. It's okay, So, tonight I wanted to just talk about 10 ways that you can raise a sagging credit score. And a lot of you are sagging from what I just said, carrying the business on your personal credit, whether it's through your credit cards, whether it's through a line of credit, you have a HELOC, you took out a second mortgage, you took out collateral from somewhere else, such as maybe a 401k, or maybe you have equipment. Okay, so there's tons of ways that I'm sure you can just look at it in the sense of where you borrowed from, even family or friends. Some of you are probably not going to celebrate the holidays with some of your family members just because you borrowed and you weren't able to return those funds. So you're like, I'll just save face and not go. And that usually probably carries on into Thanksgiving and the end of the year holidays. So let's fix that problem now. Let's work on how you can improve yourself. And then as improvement comes, then you're able to get access to funds, pay yourself off if you borrow from yourself. And that means those high lines of credit that you ran up and, it was necessary, but it gives you an opportunity to transfer those balances over to the business side, and that way it frees up your personal credit, allows your scores to increase, and you can do some things. Okay, so let's start by really just understanding, number one, business credit and personal credit scores do go hand in hand. As I said, the profiles have to match the credit scores, and I really, really, really need you guys to understand that just being in the 600 club is not enough. Like, you can get some approvals, you may get, some funding that may allow you to breathe, but understand that those rates may not be favorable. So let's maybe start with the credit scores. This is an article from consumerreports.org, and I'll post this on my Facebook. If you guys are not following me on my other social media platforms, I'm on Facebook at This Gal Talks Credit. That's This Gal Talks Credit. And if you are on Instagram, go to TGTC, that's short for, or the acronym for This Gal Talks Credit, _ unplugged. So unplugged is just, me just being off script and just more so just getting on there, posting some stuff about where I've been or whatever. So again, go to those two platforms, make sure you follow me there, and that should keep you in the loop about all things credit fitness, as well as what I'm doing over here on the platform for This Gal Talks Credit. So I want to start out by really kind of clearing the air with credit scores, because I think a lot of you, like I said, in the 600 club, that's just not enough. Okay, I really want you to go into this thing, as I always say, eyes wide open, not wide shut. So according to this report from consumerreports.org, their rating of setting up the scores, and you can get a pen and paper, run this back, watch the replay, or do whatever, but this will kind of guide you on what ranges of credit scores you can aim for. Because I think sometimes people say, oh, I have a 698. Yes. And then you find out that the 698 is okay, but you were wishing that the rates would have been lower, or your lending opportunities could have been better as far as, gaining access to more money. Another person might say, I have a 726. And usually when I say 726, and this is how you guys say it, you only give like one score when there's 3 scores, okay? Don't forget, you are working with 3 bureaus that are usually going to always be pulled to determine whether or not you're, good for the money. So you have Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, of course, but don't just quote one score. So getting back to the 726, you may find that the 726 is batched with something called a lower credit score with 698. Okay, so let me give you the layout that they gave. 800 to all the way to 850 is considered A1 top tier credit. Okay, this is when you can kind of understand that 1%, just that little 1% of borrowers are in this range. Okay, so I would say don't break your brains over trying to figure out how to get the exceptional score. Just work on what your profile has, and then it will grow. So like I tell people, if you build it, it will grow. Okay, so you just have to have a little patience, have a little time. Some people might say, well, how much time are we talking about here? Because like I said, I don't have time. So if you're going to do it organically, and when I say organically, that's time. That's you taking the initiative to build, get access to lines of credit and work on it, pay on time, keep balances low, all those good things you guys know or heard about. So it could take anywhere from 12 to 24 months, and break it down into years, 1 to 2 years. But if you have those funds to be able to invest in yourself, there are things that you can do to add to your report that could give you payment history, give you room for, utilizations, I hate that word, utilizations against the lines of credit that you may have maxed out. So it can give you wiggle room, and then usually when wiggle room is given, the points can adjust itself, and then we can maybe create an opportunity for you to get it even down lower, okay? So without giving all the secret sauces here, I would suggest that if you're more so interested, you'll be able to get in a room on Monday, this Monday coming up, July 1st, just a couple of days before Independence Day. I'm going to give you guys a 45-minute crash course on how to basically get some funding within a very short record time, and rather than looking out 2 years, 5 years, and then going to the desperate measures of borrowing and robbing Peter to pay Paul, all those weird things we do as business owners. So if you're interested, make sure you use the link in my bio. Go to enforceaccuracy.com, register. I am giving a promo for the first responders, and then after those first responders have met my reserve, the price will increase. Okay, so in fact, we may have already did that, and I'm just cautioning you. So if we did make more room, please do that, because tomorrow is Friday, and I know that more than likely we're going to be shutting it down, and you'll be able to get it at a higher price, okay? If you're wondering, well, how much does it cost? It's $10. $10 is going to allow you to reserve your seat, to get rid of the cattle call. I don't want anyone just sitting in my space just there. I want to be able to see who really wants an opportunity to help themselves, and this is a no excuse reason why you cannot do it for yourself. I'm giving you a break, okay? So you'll be able to see all the details of what I'll be able to give you in that course, and then that way you can actually, set yourself up for a very strong future. So now that I said that, so here we go. 800 plus, that goes all the way to 850, again, is considered the top tier credit, okay? Also, actually, let me rewind, because I talked about 1%. 1% or 2% is mostly where people fall in when they have those credit scores. But also you can use this percentage as to the 1% that is most likely to go delinquent. Okay, and delinquent is like serious delinquent and within the first 90 days. Okay, so that's usually how the FICO scoring model puts their like risk factors together. Okay, so this is where it's, like I said, less than 1% of those individuals that fall in this category in the 800 plus range that will fall into serious delinquency in the first 90 days. Okay, 740 to 799. Okay, it gets like, this is a game, so please don't feel like, oh my gosh, who's actually going to be anal enough to look at a score? You are. You want to play the game, you want to get those optimal scores, then write this down so that way you can stare at it, look at it, seance over it, sing over it, pray over it, hum over it. I don't know what y'all do, but whatever you know will help you to engrave this into your brain, then write it down. So 740 to a 799 is considered exceptional scores, okay? So, or I should say, that was 800 plus. They're very good, okay? Because I when I say exceptional, because I know I've talked to people and they're like, I'm a 787 and I'm exceptional. And they're like, no, you're very good. Exceptional is 800 and above, okay? So, again, this is very good credit. And this is where you will find, you're still optimal in getting good rates. And usually it's like a gray area as to what underwriting will do if you were 800 and something versus being at a 787. So it's like I said, it's all about underwriting and what they want to do, and what they want to decide is how much they want to give you. And then, of course, the rates and also the offers. So offers could be like, 0% for 12 months or up to 18 months or something like that. So it's really depending on what they want to do. And then, of course, in this category, 1% are usually likely to become very serious. Okay, and very serious, again, is 90 days I would say within that 90-day window, because that's how we were taught. So within that first 90 days is when they may become serious delinquent, okay? And then 670, I actually have to because I remember when I first taught certain classes, 670 wasn't even batch with the 700s in this way, but a 670 to a 739. 670 to a 739 is considered good, okay? And you can find that 8% of individuals that are in this category that could be basically finding themselves in serious delinquency within that first 90 days, okay? Or within a time frame, but usually it's on that 90-day window. So could you imagine having a 739 and still being considered with a 670 credit score? Like, it just kind of makes you cringe, right? 580 to a 669. I know somebody was going, 666. No, 669 is considered fair. Again, 580 to a 669 is considered fair credit. So if you're, thinking, oh, I'm a 640, yay, I can buy a house. Yes, you can buy a house. But again, that's considered fair. All right. And so also in this, this particular category, of course, the risk of someone going delinquent is going to definitely increase to the tune of 27%. Okay. Again, this information is coming from the consumer report that I actually, I read this stuff daily. Like I tell you, I eat, breathe, sleep credit. I mean, that's what I do. I love it. But in regards to this article, consumerreports.org is giving this information. So again, 27% of you guys, if you're in this particular category, I know someone said, oh, I'm in that category. It's all right. It can go higher, okay? But I just want to put the numbers out there so you can look at it. So 580 to 669 is considered fair, and 27% of individuals in this category are considered to go serious delinquent within that 90-day time frame. And then, of course, 579 and below. So you guys, you know, and I can't see any comments at all, so I apologize if you guys are saying something and I'm not able to see it. So just keep that in mind. I'm not ignoring you. But 579 and below is considered poor. Okay, so if you have a 579 or less, you are considered poor credit. So don't be comfortable in your poor credit. Please don't be comfortable in your poor credit. So in regarding to this, roughly 62%, 62, that's more than 50%. 62% of individuals in this category will find themselves going seriously delinquent. Now, you have to imagine how the underwriters are looking at your scores. And when I'm talking about underwriters, I'm going to just go past funding for right now and go into something a little bit more intimate, like your insurance policies, whether it be for your home, your health, your car, with some of the other ones, disability, like that, but that's part of your health. Life insurance, just thinking of all these different little things that happen in underwriting and use credit. So those scores that I just gave you are considered based on what their information is in their data systems, according to those scores that I just laid out for you. And they'll say, okay, well, based on a 579 and below, we're going to just give everybody a higher premium. Now, you may make the income and you might feel like it's unfair, but based on that, they're going to sock it to you. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Don't feel comfortable in this category, because to me personally, it's not worth the investment that you're going to pour into. And then also, for those that have security clearances, oh my gosh, so many of you work for the government, the IRS, the actual military. There are certain security clearances that you could actually lose, or maybe it's time for elevation in or being promoted, and they won't promote you because of the category of credit scores that you're presenting. And please understand, employers are pooling credit. I mean, it's just a way for them to decide whether they should keep you or kick you out. Okay? So with that, that information, hopefully you guys will be able to, at least get yourselves in motion to start, doing something about your scores. And like I said, don't try to don't obsess over oh my God, I have to have a 758 or I gotta have an 800. Don't do that, because that, I think, will make you lose your mind. Okay, more so than anything else. And you might say, well, how is that possible? Well, just think about washing a car, a black car at that. I mean, completely black car, and it's shiny, and then all of a sudden there's dust, lint on it. You're like, oh. You're like those over anxious people at the car show that somebody touched the car and their fingerprints on it. And they're like, oh. They're wiping it off with Windex, and so that's what it's almost compared to. So real quick, I'm going to give you these 10 ways, and then you guys can marinate on it. And if you feel like, Almitra, I need more, I need it to be a little bit more deeper for me, what is it for my situation, then definitely use the opportunity of the class, because the class is actually going to give you a 15-minute courtesy of a one-on-one discovery call virtually, and we'll be able to talk about your credit report then. If you need something even more in depth, please let us know, and we'll be able to provide that to you. So the first thing is first, regularly monitor credit reports. Monitor credit reports. Y'all know I was going to say it. I want you to look at this thing daily if you can. Don't get stuck on this, monthly, every 6 months, If you get alerts from your bank saying, hey, are you at such and such store? Did you swipe your card? You feel good when you know something's going on, or they watched you, or something they thought was fraudulent, and they're letting you know by an alert. So that's always a good thing. You should do the same with your report. Have alerts where they can alert you and say, hey, we got a missed payment here. And you're like, missed payment? Oh, let me get on that right now. That way you don't lose time and create a gap in trying to report or get the reporting accurate. Okay, so that's the first thing. Make sure you do that, and using online monitors can actually help you with that. Of course, you can always get the free annualreport.com. That's only once a year. The other way would be is if you were declined on something, you have like up to 60 days to get a report from the bureaus to say, why, and then they'll give you a report. That way, they will not provide the credit scores in that report. They'll ask that you pay for that in addition to. So it's all about data selling for them, okay? And then also, of course, you can always see what your credit your credit card statements are reporting on you regarding that. But keep in mind, they usually give you a summary or a summarized version of what's on the report. It's never usually in detailed form. So if you're using a credit monitor, that's a more safer way to figure out what's going on, okay? Number 2, of course, is going to be pay your bills on time, okay? We talked about the pie chart, and we done talked about this pie chart, and this 35%, okay? We're talking about a big piece of the pie can be affected if you don't pay on time. I talked about yesterday how paying late one time, in which there was a gentleman that I presented an article from, and they also marked my words, 100 or more points can be lost from paying one time late. And of course, if you have several accounts that may have been paid late or received the payment late, whether it's by your fault or by the bank's error, it still can make you lose those points, okay? So pay your bills on time. Pay your bills on time. Pay your bills on time, okay? And then understand that, 96% of all people who have really high FICO scores, they don't miss any payments, okay? So if you're trying to figure it out, like, well, I don't understand what's so crazy about everything. They don't have missed payments. Like, it's not 1, 2 little missed payments within a 24-month period. No, they usually have everything paid across the board, and that's what usually can help you from getting a ding, okay? The other thing I want to say is number 3 is don't apply for a bunch of credit, guys. Like, even if you're going to shop for a vehicle, stay away from that type of strategy of going directly into the dealers. Now, if you're a car dealer and you're watching, you're like, wait a minute, she's just trying. Listen, as a dealer, you have to help your client look good too. And a lot of times you don't want to kill your deal by having them ran as a shotgunning method, and where they could have qualified for more funding, and you could sell them a better or a higher end product with all the bells and whistles, all the warranties, all these additional things that you would love to add on, but because of their scores being lower, the bank's not going to take a risk on them. Now, of course, you might say, well, we're trying to make more money off of financing. Well, if that's your bottom line, and I know there's some people in the industry to do that, then we're not having this conversation. So, moving on, make sure you just continue to manage how many times you're applying for things. We actually teach and coach on how to do that, and this is something that it's not an easy feat to be able to just say, hey, this is what it is. Because I know some of you are like, well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to, yes, you can do all those things, but you just have to have a time frame as to when you're going to do it, so it's actually like structured and it falls in a certain time frame. Please don't rely on, if I apply for a bunch of credit, it's all going to be considered one inquiry if it's done within a 14-day window and or 30. Like, I know you guys have read all this stuff, heard about it, but it's not accurate when it comes to certain things, especially business credit and or regular credit for just building purposes, okay? So we will teach you and coach you if you like that, but be very, very careful. But just, keep in mind that when you do go after certain lending opportunities such as cars, there is a better way to purchase your vehicle or lease your vehicle. It's a lot of ways that are way better than just going through the shotgun method. I also will make this applicable to mortgagers or mortgage brokers who are using the same tactics, that you're getting the client, they come in, they fill out an app, and then you shop them to all the banks that you have relationships with. Again, that same scenario of lowering that person's score or having several hard inquiries can damage what they're trying to do, and everybody's not happy. Okay, you're not happy because they might say, no, I'm going to wait because my credit is not, I don't like the rate. Like, it could backfire. Okay, so just make sure that you are someone that can teach them the proper way. And if you don't know, reach out to us and we'll teach you so that way you don't kill your deal. Okay, the fourth thing is, please don't cancel cards, even if you don't use it in 1 million years, for those that live 1 million years. But you want to make sure that if you have a really old card and you don't use it, and you're like, I can't stand this card. And maybe sometimes you guys have cards that have, like, memberships. Amex is good for that. They have these, they got memberships. Okay, but if you are smart and you have a great accountant or CPA or whoever is providing you services for your taxes, they should be able to help you to shelter those fees, so that way it doesn't feel all the way but you want to make sure you don't kill any account, for that matter, that's an open line of credit revolving. Don't close them. Now, when it comes to installments, guys, they're going to close eventually. Even your mortgage, if you decide I'm going to pay my mortgage off for 5 to 7 years, understand your mortgage is going to close. And once it closes, it's probably the oldest line of credit that you have. Okay? And let's just say, for those that have had their mortgage for 10 or more years, and then they come across the strategy of pay off in 5 to 7 years, and you're like, yes, I'm going to be debt free, I'm going to be amazing, and you pay it off in 5 to 7 years, and your score has dropped 200 points. And you might think, well, that's unfair, I'm trying to be debt free. Well, being debt free doesn't mean that your scores are going to be free too. They're going to be free to be susceptible to low scores. So if you know you're going to pay your mortgage off in 5 to 7 years, have a strategy in place that could compensate for the closure of that mortgage, because once it's closed, it's closed. And with however many years you had it open, that goes away. Okay, so I know somebody saying, oh, but it's still going, I'm going to get a portion of it. You're going to get a portion of something up there. But it's not. You're not going to be happy. I promise you, you won't be happy. And that's the same goes as paying off vehicles. Some of you are paying off your vehicles off fast, and you're like, yay. Or paying off student loans in consolidations even. Like if the student loan goes into consolidation, remember, if your loans have been sitting on there for a really long time and they're in deferment, then all of a sudden you are going to do a consolidation. You basically shut that line down, or lines, and a lot of you have lines of student loans. So shutting down 12 accounts, shutting down 15 accounts because you're putting it into consolidation means that the consolidation starts a brand new account for the current date that you're opening that consolidation loan. Okay? So these are things that fall under that do not cancel unless you have a strategy. And for those that are actually shutting down their last payment on the car note, last payment on the mortgage, last payment on a personal loan, last payment on student loan, or doing a consolidation, we strategize. That is what we do, and we take pride in it. We strategize, okay? Number five is, of course, to keep your balances low. I went into an in-depth conversation about that last night. Keeping balances low. If you didn't see it, make sure you watch that. Number 6. If you charge everything on your rewards card for these nice little points and perks and all that stuff, listen, guys, make sure you have to, you got to switch it up a little bit. Like your debit cards and all that stuff, we'll show you, but you just have an open mind about this, because I know there are some people that may have 5 credit cards and they could have all large limits, like 10,000, 20,000, but it's this one card that they're just like, swipe. I love this card. Oh my God. And it's almost like I have to say, swipe or no swiping. And that's because you get so in depth in using this card all the time, and you're not really mixing it up in regards to how you use or put in play your debit cards, as well as more so just kind of switching it up a little bit, especially if, you know, sometimes the banks will offer new cards. So you want to just be careful as to how you're doing that. And again, we want to make sure that you are in a good position with your credit limits, especially if you're going to apply for new lines of credit. You just want to make sure, because it can have an adverse negative effect against you. Number 7, maintain a variety of credit. And that means don't just run out and get all credit cards. Okay? I personally talked about that again, and I agree with the fact that you should not just go out there and just go willy-nilly and say, I'm just going to get this and this and this and this, and I want that and I want that. No. I want you to kind of really strategize as, okay, I'm going to get one credit card, even if this is just like basic stuff. And I do this with a lot of my graduate students that are coming from high school or coming out of college and they don't have a profile. But you want to start with a few things. You want to at least try to, as most of you, have an installment already if you applied or have student loans. That installment is already taken care of. So you have one type of credit. If you want to take it up a notch, having a vehicle or having, I don't even know if I want to say it, but I guess I have to, because some of you are doing it and you don't really understand the product. Timeshares. I am not a fan of timeshares. I'm not a fan of timeshares, sorry. But timeshares actually fall under the category, get this, mortgage. Some of you have timeshares and no real mortgage as a house. And if you default, that's like a defaulted mortgage. So you probably think twice, or not at all, for getting the timeshare. But the timeshare falls in the category of a mortgage. So if you get a little teeny one, okay. If you get one that's like 30 grand, you better take it really serious. That's a mortgage, and it could be an issue for you when it comes to first-time home buying, okay? So make sure you have like a plethora or a nice mix of credit. And again, we show our clients how to do that to make it easier, and it's really not a whole lot of thought process. Once you understand how we do it, you'll be like, oh, okay, that's cool. So number 8, on this particular article that was provided, I really didn't feel good about the number 8 that they had, but I will say this: paying any debt that's in collection can be disastrous. Okay, so what I would say is for number 8 would be more so. You wanna get some validation going on first. You wanna make sure, am I paying the right company? Is this collection showing up more than one time on my report? And is it really supposed to be just one account, not 5? Okay, there are a few companies that actually like to multiply their collections, like Verizon or any utility bill. Sometimes they'll duplicate it. That's the same thing with medical bills. In fact, there was an article that I read maybe 2.5 weeks ago that was talking about an actual hospital system that was charging, they were charging the client as well as saying that they owed money. And on top of that, if the client called in to make, to dispute it, they would say, no, you have a balance and you have to pay. So the clients would pay only to find out they didn't owe anything, okay? So it gets really gray, guys. That's why I'm saying you want to do validation before you go with running and applying for stuff or disputing stuff online. I talked about that last night. Don't dispute online. Don't give up your rights, okay? So that is something that I would definitely say, just make sure that you get validation first, so that way you can get rid of any reasonable doubt that it really is an accurate reporting, or something that's allegedly looking a little off. Like maybe it looks like it's too much. They might have slept on like $1 million in fees. I'm just, my number is 1 million, but you want to make sure you do some validations before you do that. Also, you want to make sure that it's not old enough, because sometimes the debts are really old, you guys, and you're like over 5 years sometimes, and you want to pay an old 5-year-old debt. I'm not saying that you shouldn't pay your debts. I'm an advocate for you to pay your stuff. Pay it on time. You won't be in collections. But if you do fall in collections and it is an old debt, anything 2 years and older, I have seen to be most detrimental if you've run out. I've had people that were like kind of climbing back. They didn't do anything as far as working with their credit over the, a year or two. They just left it alone, and their scores crept back up. And then they go and pay an old collection because it was only $45, and they wanted to feel good about getting rid of something, and their scores immediately fell into the fours. Okay, so that's not funny, and it's very disheartening when you see an individual that's like pursuing to improve themselves, and then all of a sudden this software that FICO uses is, you're back, hi, how are you? Okay, that's your most recent negative. We're going to drop your score. So don't do those type of things. Number 9, their list was, run out and get a secure card. Okay, y'all know how I feel about secure cards. There are other options. If you haven't seen those, you can actually go and look at the title of the things that I was talking about that you can do to add. And I did talk about extensively about secure cards, why I don't like them, why there are other options that are similar to secure cards. And if you use a secure card, pick the ones that don't show up as a code, as a secure card, because you're shouting to the world, I couldn't get unsecured credit, and you might not want to take a risk on me because I'm secured, baby. So even though it makes you feel the word secured is not secured. You're not secured. You're looking a little weird. You're looking a little shaky. Okay. So how ironic is that, right? So you want to make sure that you can pick other options that kind of operate like secured cards, meaning you have to bring your collateral to the company, pay them to report the information that says you have an open line of credit with them. Usually you can find that through, installment lending, as well as actual Visa or MasterCards. And most recent is something that I was also talking about last night, is rent. Having your rent reported. All of them are not equal, but I will say that it is a good option. So we're actually going to be going over in detail what those companies are that can help you get that, and that's why I said in this crash course I'm giving all of that information. I am so hoping that 45 minutes, I could do it in 45 minutes. You think I can do it in 45 minutes? I don't know. Y'all know me. I don't know. But I'm going to try to do it. Listen, if y'all want to stay longer, I'm going to try not to go over. I can see my assistant. Even though I can't see anybody on the screen, I can feel it, like the heat's on me. But the fact is, I'm going to be dropping those bombs in that class because those companies ask us not to publicize their name, their whereabouts, because there are people that would like to get rid of them, of course. But we want to help as many people as we can. In fact, I just did a bunch of people this week, and I'm so excited because they actually came in at a certain date, and because I know people have a shoestring budget, we were able to we only have to wait. How many days is it right now before the 1st? What is it, 5? Is it 5, 4, 3, 4? Okay, 4. There's 4 days left. So they only had to wait 5 days. They made their payment, and it's going to report on the 1st of July. How about that? They only have to wait 4 days. We show you how to do that. Because I know people, listen, you be like, this is my $5, and I need my $5 for my latte. I got to get my Dunkin', right? Y'all gonna have to get your lives. Get your lives, man. Get your lives. All right, so yes, these are opportunities that you also will have access to, but you have to register. This is why you have to register. This is not a cattle call. I'm not interested in just blah, blah, blah for free. I'm not doing that. I want to see you put skin in the game, and I want to deal with people who want to help themselves. I'm not interested in tire kickers. I'm just open for those that are like, Almitra, I'm just trying to catch a break. Can you please show me what I can do? It is the last 6 months of this decade. Show me what to do. So please go to that class, get registered, and get all the bells and whistles afterwards, because there is not just the class, because I'm not just interested in the class. I think I have to teach classes because some of you are so inept to what's going on with funding, and you don't make us look too good as specialists when it comes to business funding, because some of the underwriters are like, where are you getting these people from? Why are they acting like this? We did all the work, and they're scared. What is happening? So I don't want you to be scared. None of my clients, they are scared. Well, maybe one or two. But you want to go in with confidence and courage that you know what you're doing, okay? Number 10. Yay, me. Number 10. Consider new tools that can boost your scores. I'm going to say it because I have to. We talked about it at my last continuing educational course. It's Boost. It's all right. I'm not endorsing it. I really don't. It's going to be up to you guys, okay? But this is when you can bring in your utilities. This is when you can bring in those, unconventional items that are usually not reported on your credit report unless you done defaulted. That's when you'll find a utility on your bill, right? But in this sense, utilities can be added. Some other things can be added, but working with John Alzheimer's and being under his shadow and wing, teaching us the formulas of, or I should say not the formula, the behaviors, that'd probably be a better word, behaviors of the FICO scoring system. He himself has really good credit, and he did Boost. Only got 5 points. 5 points. You're right. I don't think 5 points is worth them getting access to private information like your checking account, like your utility. Like, I just think that's a little conflict of interest. You guys, y'all can have your own opinions about it. I did talk about this Boost back in December? January. I don't know. Go look it up. It's on Periscope. But it's not my cup of tea. There are other opportunities that you guys can do, and like I said, I don't like the boosting thing. It's almost like getting a booster shot. You know how some people actually reject? They're like, "Did you get the flu shot?" No, I didn't get the flu shot. Did you get that vaccination? No, I didn't get the vaccine. Because it's I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's a gray area, guys, and it just came out. It just came out. So you can be the judge on that. I'll let you guys leave that open. Maybe you can leave me a comment and tell me what you think on Facebook about Boost number 10. That's what I'm closing on. But leave me a comment, because I'm really interested in hearing what you guys have to say. If you guys have questions about it, I can definitely do a class, or a short little thing here. But please let me know what you think, and if you don't, then I won't talk about it. But I know that you can always go and refer back to some of the old stuff that I did, and you'll see what I said about it. But I don't think I like Boost. Okay, so those are the 10 things, guys. I gave you all the breakdowns of the credit scores. You can look at them. Hopefully that'll be enough for you to kind of say, oh, so I'm thinking I'm hot stuff, and I'm still in the 600 club, for real. So yeah, I just want to kind of give you some, I guess, reasonable tips, as well as golden nuggets, bite-sized pieces to help you do what you need to do to change your status, upgrade and level up, and get yourselves together before 2020, because it is very, 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 very possible. Even if you should have bankruptcy, even if you should have foreclosure, even if you should have charge-offs, repos, all that weird stuff. And I can't leave out high balances. I've had people who had high balances, I mean, right at the line, over the line, and they were able to talk to us with that one-on-one consult. Now, I will be honest, the consults that we do give out are going to, they're going to be tight, okay? So I'm sticking to my 15-minute, so I ask that you please respect that reserved time. If you know that you need a little bit longer, then definitely opt for the 30-minute to 60-minute consult, so that way we can really get in depth to what's going on. Please do not use that 15 minutes to talk about something that would need an hour or 30 minutes. Please don't do that, okay? I'm actually doing this because I have a passion to see everyone's credit scores and profiles match and be their strongest as well as its highest, so that way you can present yourselves to the underwriters in the very next future, 3 months, 6 months out, to get the funding that you need and not suffer the way you're suffering, because a lot of you are suffering silently. So if you liked what I said tonight, I hope that you will share this. Please show me some love. I think they still allow us to get hearts. Tap the screen. Tap the screen. Tap the screen. Let me know that you were listening. Don't just be staring there, staring. I don't like starers. Yes, I'm talking to you. You're staring. Don't stare. Tap. Tap while you're staring. Tap while you're staring. Even though I don't know if you are tapping and staring. I don't know. But make sure you share. Make sure you go to enforcedaccuracy.com to get in this class on Monday. And I don't know if I'm doing it again. I just wanted to put it out there to see who was going to help themselves, because the price is so low. It's $10 for a registration. Like, you guys are about to blow that up in like the next hour, because somebody's going to order something and it's late. So I'm just saying, I'm not putting you out there, but I am, okay? I make no apologies. I said it, I ain't taking it back. But you want to make sure you get in the room so you can find out what I'm going to be talking about in detail, with resources, as well as an opportunity to let me see the report and or get you options for funding, because some of you are usually funded after these conversations, even though the ones they thought they'll never get funded, they're like, oh, you can't help me. And then we turn around and say, can you send your IDs and the cancel check so we can get this funding? And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Don't just take my word for it. Please go to the website at creditfitness.co. Check out the reviews there from people that we did not pay to do that. They actually left their own comments. So I really love those comments. It usually makes me feel good, because I'll be like, yes, y'all. And off, yes. Did you hear that? Boop. They liked it. But it is my passion to make sure I can see you guys be the strongest business owners that you can be. For those that are inspiring homeowners, this is for you too. It's for you too. So get in the class, and I hope to see you guys very, very soon. And thank you again for coming in tonight. And again, leave a comment about this boost thing. Yeah, I'm calling it a boost thing. Leave it on my Facebook or leave it on my Instagram, and I will definitely look at those comments and get back to you guys about it, and we'll talk about it more if necessary. Thank you so much. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Talk to you soon. Bye.